Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us. I know we have the dubious distinction of going right after lunch, so hopefully we'll keep you guys all awake with a lot of exciting content here. My name is Rick Tam Daniels. I'm the Global Vice President for Ecosystems and Technology with Informatica. And again, really appreciate all of you joining us here this afternoon. This is a session I've been looking forward to for probably months as we've run up to reInvent here, mainly because I think a lot of people in the room, I suspect, don't know the Informatica of today. But we've been hard at work with AWS reimagining what data and analytics in the cloud is all about. And Informatica of today, our mission is to help each and every one of you become an intelligent data enterprise. What do I mean by an intelligent data enterprise? An intelligent data enterprise is able to readily leverage all of their critical data assets to respond to any threat or opportunity and transform their business. And Informatica, we offer an end-to-end data supply chain, if you will, that goes all the way from data discovery, data integration, data transformation, data quality, data delivery, data access, that whole life cycle to deliver value from data. And our platform, the Intelligent Data Management Cloud, is the industry-leading, fully cloud-native, AI-accelerated platform for cloud data management. And in today's session, we're going to take you through let's call it a tour de force, if you will, of cloud data management and show you through demos and interactive sessions just how we achieve that entire supply chain that ultimately connects your entire data community, from your data producers to your data consumers. But before we get into that, one of the most important parts of having successful cloud data management is the integration with the core cloud data services from AWS. So it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage Jan Lashinsky, Vice President, Amazon Redshift. Come on up, Jan.
Thank you, Rick. Very glad to see you and Informatica team at reInvent. It's going to be an exciting event, and you've been a true partner. So thank you for all the hard work.
Absolutely, yeah. It's our pleasure to be here. Very excited to be at the event. So let's talk a little bit about some of the customer requirements that you're hearing with regard to becoming data-driven. What are customers asking you about?
So first of all, customers are telling us that data and analytics is on top of their mind, on top of their technology asks. And they want to get to insights faster. They want to process more data in real time.
Yep. Well, and I think those are a lot of the kind of requirements that we hear as well, and they're kind of the underpinnings of our partnership, right? Where, and we've been a long-standing partner with AWS and an innovation partner as well. In particular, we were a launch partner for Redshift back in the day, I think, and a number of other key innovations that are so important. But what I really want to kind of think about is not just the innovation side of it, but also how we invest in customers together, right? We invest in customer success. We also invest in things like making our platform available through the AWS marketplace to make it easy for customers to adopt. Maybe talk a little bit about your philosophy in terms of the partnership and how it really impacts customers and the different ways we work together.
So when it comes to data and analytics, what we offer to our customers is what we call the modern data architecture. Modern data architecture is designed, first of all, to break silos, because we see that customers have hundreds of different applications, data sources, and they don't want to build expensive pipelines. They want the platform to do it for them. Customer want democratization of data. We are everybody from analysts to SQL developers to our partners, integrators, need to be able to quickly do their tasks, and we need to meet them where their skill set is. And last but not least is data governance, because people want to do their task. They want to make sure the data is safe. They want to make sure access is as intended, and they're free to innovate, free to achieve their goals faster.
It makes a tremendous amount of sense. So when you think about, just from coming back to some of the customer challenges and getting to being data-driven, I think today the office of a chief data officer has become a very important role in many enterprises. But there was a recent Gartner survey that showed that I think it was 42% of CDOs felt that data access was their number one impediment when it came to becoming data-driven. From your perspective, what are some of the challenges you see customers encountering, as well as the opportunities presented in becoming data-driven?
So there are lots of the opportunities, as you say, and that's where partnership with companies like Informatica is very important. Let's take one example, this partnership between AWS Lake Formation and Informatica Cloud Data Governance, where together we establish rules and patterns and we let people proper access to their data, establish security rules that they can obey. Maybe the next, do you want us to get to the announcement that we want to do?
Yeah,
so
okay.
That's...
Well, what I'll say is, coming back to the point you made about democratization, right? So I think we see that trend, especially in today's economic climate, right? What we're seeing increasingly is that folks within enterprises are being asked to do more with less, right? And so democratization, their ability to self-serve data, to rapidly get data from where it is into Amazon Redshift in a frictionless way is a really important requirement. And it's something that our teams have actually been working on quite a bit lately. So maybe you could share with the audience a little bit about what we've been doing with our data loader and Amazon Redshift.
Sure. So today we want to announce a general availability of integration between Informatica's data loader and Amazon Redshift. What that means for you, for the customer. That means you can do the tasks starting from onboarding the large amount of data at scale, to the task of building, for example, writing SQL right inside of Redshift query editor. And you can do all these tasks without leaving Redshift console. So it's very convenient for everybody, for analysts, for developers, to do all these tasks using familiar tools, familiar languages like SQL, and do it in one place without jumping around, without losing time. Because of that, customers will be able to build no-code data pipelines right starting from the console, and go back and start querying this data using query editor. I think it's a big step toward ease of use and democratization of data, as you just said.
Yeah, and when we say frictionless, we really mean frictionless, right? So not only is the data loader directly accessible from the console, but the data loader service itself, it's a no-cost service, a free service, unlimited capacity. It's about 30 plus sources today. We can just start replicating data in 3 easy steps directly into Redshift. So tremendous leap forward, I think, in terms of taking the friction out of the system and accelerating outcomes for our joint customers.
And some of the examples, for example, data from Salesforce and Marketer that lots of our developers saying they want to be able to load them to Redshift quickly. They don't want to think about this. They don't want to build auxiliary systems to deal with that. So I feel it's a very big step forward.
Excellent. So in addition to that, we've got a few other areas we've been working together. One of the other big ones is that we were a launch partner for Redshift Serverless. So maybe you could share with the audience a little bit about what is Redshift Serverless all about, and what are some of the benefits to them?
So as Rick mentioned, Informatica was a launch partner for Redshift Serverless back at reInvent 2021. We went with GA of Redshift Serverless in July of this year. And right now, thousands of customers like Peloton, for example, are using this on a daily basis. Redshift Serverless removes the muck of provisioning and maintaining clusters, so you can spend more time on extracting insight from the data, do what you actually want to do. Redshift Serverless is auto-scaling, and you pay only for what you use on the per second basis. So that lets you to a leading price performance, and that's what you need. Now, it's a different time, and money costs more than last year. So leading in price performance is very important for our customers.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I should add that our intelligent data management cloud also offers serverless mode, so you can truly have an end-to-end serverless offering if that's what fits your use cases. So one other thing actually we announced today was the integration of our cloud data marketplace with Amazon Data Exchange. And our cloud data marketplace, if you're not familiar with it, think of it as a storefront for your data within the enterprise that enforces your policies, your workflows around data and data access. And what we announced today is the integration with Amazon Data Exchange, so it brings together not only your data, but 3,500 other sources of data, public sources of data available through Amazon Data Exchange. So incredibly powerful kind of single pane of glass view for your data consumers to get access to all the information. And once those users want to access information, we can provision that data to S3 or to Redshift sharing, for example, which is another great area of joint innovation. So maybe, Jan, you could talk a little bit about, what are some of the use cases and benefits of Redshift sharing, data sharing that you're seeing?
So Redshift data sharing is one of the mechanisms to deliver Informatica marketplace. Why marketplace is so important? Because customers want not just to use data. Customers want to monetize their data. They want to do it in a safe, secure method with the fine-grained access control, and that's something that Redshift Serverless delivers. Redshift Serverless we shipped in 2021, and right now most of our customers are using it at scale every day, 10 millions of query per day in some of the largest customers like Warner Brothers or.
It's a fantastic feature, right? And I think one of the benefits of sharing in particular also is they're not duplicating data as well, right? Because I think that's a concern that a lot of folks have is, well, great, I can publish data into a marketplace, but am I actually creating more silos of data, right? And data sharing is an incredibly effective way of avoiding that siloing problem. Well, so I guess, again, I just want to say, kind of sum things up. Thank you for all the partnership, for all the joint innovation. I do think, to borrow a phrase from AWS, it is still day one for our partnership around Redshift and all the other core AWS data service. So again, Jan, I want to thank you so much for your time and your perspectives. And appreciate it.
Thank you as well, Rick. And my ask to you, here is the QR code. Well, you'll see, yes,
there you go.
QR code is on the screen. Please scan it and start using Data Loader. See, it is day one. We want you to try it to see how it is, and we're looking forward for your opinions in the way to improve this going forward. It is a strategic partnership for us. The main thing we want to do, we want to innovate together on go-to-market, innovate together on some integration story or maybe new products. And your opinion is very important to us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jan. Appreciate it. Okay, with that, I'm going to welcome Rajiv Srinivasan to the stage, who's going to take you through the tour and, as promised, live demos of our data management cloud. Rajiv, come on up. All right, thank you all.
Thanks. Thanks, Rick, and thanks, Jan, for your partnership. It was a lot of fun working with your team. So with that, let me start introducing myself. One thing you know for sure, it's me. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, I just noticed that I'm wearing the exact same shirt. So you would see me there. I'm the exact same person. So I'm Rajiv Srinivasan. I'm the Director of Technical Alliance at Informatica, and I focus on all technical strategic partnership with AWS. So today, we're going to look at three broad data community personas. And we're going to work backwards here. So we're going to start first with the data consumer, right? Any data consumers in the house who think, just by show of hands, anybody who thinks he's a data consumer? That's it? Just two? Are there others? Okay, there are a few more hands there. Okay? So these are data analysts or could be data scientists, whoever is consuming data. And the second one is data owners. These are governance leads, data stewards, data custodians. Anybody in the audience who's a data custodian, data steward? Okay, I see one hand there. Okay, there are a few hands coming up. Okay, great. And then finally, data producers who are passionate about bringing data from either on-premises into the cloud to the modern data platform. Data producers. Show of hands. Okay, ETL developers. Okay, awesome, awesome. So Today's rest of the session or the agenda is going to be about you, your platform needs, and your data management needs. So it's all going to be centered around your needs. So first, let's start with the consumers, right? As a consumer of data, right, you want to start, whatever problem you have, you always start with the discovery of data. You want to find the data quickly. And after you have found the data, not just the data that you need, but also kind of the relevant and contextual data and the metadata that can further enrich and enhance your analytics. Then, after you have discovered the data, you want to get a good understanding of the data. Today, the problem of getting good understanding happens only after you have access to the data, right? How can we fast forward that? How can we make sure that you understand the data before even you request for access, right? One thing we all do is the first query that we write after we just got the data is select star from limit 10 or limit 20, and then look at all the columns. And then we look at what are the nulls. How can we fast forward that? How can you get a good understanding of the data that is there in your organization and also get a better understanding? The next one is to trust the data, right? For that, you need to get a look into or a transparency or a look into the life cycle of the data. Where is the data coming from? Who are the actors in the data pipeline? How can they, if they modify something, how is it actually affecting your report or your analytics or your underlying assumption about the data? How can you get that transparency? And finally, you want the data to be delivered to the AWS analytics or machine learning service of your choice, so in order to use the right analytics for the right job. So with that, we will go into the demo. So I'm just going to switch screens here. I don't know why it's not switching. Oh, it came up. OK, perfect. So I'm first going to log in as Anna. Anna is a data consumer, right? And what she wants to do is she wants to understand what is all the data in my data marketplace, right? And then she wants to run search, or she wants to look up the category of data based on her needs. So Anna comes in here, and then she looks at the different categories. So these are, like you can look here, right? There's population health data, there's HR, human resources, and all that data that is in here. So Anna wants to get and understand what is the data with regards to the glucose analysis that I want to do. So she probably looks at population health data. And then once she clicks on it, here kind of gives you a description of what it is. And then she's also able to look into what are the data collections that are part of this population health, right? So and then she can see who the owner of the data is, what's the purpose of the data, what's the category, and everything. There's another way to look at it too, right? Usually Anna will come in here and then be able to search for the data set. So let's say Anna now wants to do something around COVID analytics, right? So she comes in here and searches in here for, I want to do COVID analytics, and this basically brings up all the data sets or data collections that are relevant to the COVID analytics, right? So, and then she can click in here, and then she is able to get a description of what this data is. As Rick was mentioning, right, today we announced our integration with the AWS Data Exchange. This data that you see here is actually coming from the AWS Data Exchange. It is an unsubscribed data set. So this data set has not been subscribed yet, but we are going out and reaching to AWS Data Exchange, bringing in third-party data. So what that means is Anna is not able to just look at first party, that means the data that is in her organization, but also reach out to AWS Data Exchange Marketplace with 3,500 data sets across 250 plus providers and bring that data in, right? Understand what's in that data. Now, I'm going to move to the second demo, which is where I'm going to log in as Rob. And Rob wants to get a good understanding of the data, right? So where Rob is going to start is he's going to start first at the data marketplace, right? the exact same spot. Consumers always start with data discovery. So Rob is going to start at the spot of data discovery. So he's into the marketplace, okay? And here is his objective, is to find out all transactions that have a rewards point of more than 50, right? So he wants to get an understanding of the data, and he wants to look at the data and that's his problem. He wants to find out all transactions and maybe do some further marketing analysis or marketing campaigns based on that, on how those reward points are effective. But the first place that he comes to is the marketplace, where he knows, okay, there are some customer transactions in here, so let me start by going and looking into it. He clicks in here. So here's the data collection, and it has all the data sets or the data assets that he's looking for. And then he stumbles upon what is called as large transactions. So he thinks that, okay, that's probably the best table to look at, right? Because these are large transactions, and large transactions lead to more rewards. And so he now looks at the data quality. The quality looks good, right? The data quality is at 100% here. And then he's also, at a glance, able to look at, okay, what are the different columns or fields that are in that data. And then if, in this case, there is no rating, but imagine that there is the aspect where, you get feedback from your peers in the organization saying, this is good data, I've used it, they would leave comments. So, we are also trapping the tribal knowledge into it, right, of those who have already used the data. So now, Rob clicks on it, tries to get in a deeper view of, okay, wow, this is 100%. It's a good quality data set, so I'm going to go query off of this. And then I am looking at going to go in further. I want to know more, right? I want to know if this is the exact same reward points that I am looking at, or my business definition of rewards point, does it make sense to what I'm looking at, right? So he comes in here, and he looks at all the elements that are in here, and then this is a business glossary that's associated with the data, right? So now he clicks on rewards point, and then he's able to read the description, and this is being provided by the domain expert or the business expert on what those reward points mean for the organization. So he reads that, now he's okay. And this is exactly what he was looking for, so it's convincing for him that he should go and query the data set. Now he's going to look at some more details around quality. So he's able to see, he sees that there is exact completeness that's being run, or these are data quality checks that have been run by my organization or by the data stewards and the data governance to ensure that there is completeness in the data. So I'm slowly starting to develop the trust in the data or understand the data. But I still haven't figured out, where is this data coming from? What are the different actors in this data set? And how is anything that any actor will do affect my data set? So this is where we come into the detailed data lineage. I'm going to expand here, and I'm going to discover all the way from the source to where I wanted to query what is the lineage. What are the different transformations that it has gone to? In Informatica platform, one thing is very unique is that we not only profile the data, but we also profile the transformations that you are doing. And we consider that in our lineage as one point of information. So you can see here that this transformation went through, so this data basically came from a bucket in S3, went through this load Redshift transformation. There was some transformation that was done, got loaded into Redshift, right? And then there was some store procedure that was run on Redshift and based from this and then converted into a large transactions table. Now I can even quickly overlay quality on all of this, just to make sure that my pipeline is not just that particular data that has 100% or a 99% data quality, but is the entire pipeline maintaining that data quality all across the data set. So I can even drill down further. I just don't want to know about this. I want to know about all the other columns. So now what Rob has done is he is looking at every column in that particular lineage. And now he's also going to overlay the overall quality, and wherever quality checks have been run, he's able to look at all of the quality checks, right? So Rob is now satisfied. He has a good understanding, and he knows that for his rewards points that are greater than 50, he's going to use the large transaction table, right? And he's going to go ask for access or permission. But he stumbles upon something. There is a store procedure here that was run. So let me just look at what was that last statement that was run here. And as part of the store procedure, we capture the code too, right? We capture the code, and you can see here that the rewards point is greater than 100, whereas Rob's criteria was to be greater than 50. And this is what we commonly see is you get access to data, and then you realize this is not the data set that I want because you haven't fully understood the data, right? And so now, if I go back to lineage, now I know me as Rob has to run my analysis off of this particular table rather than the large transaction table, right? So I was able to kind of narrow down from the discovery all the way to understanding the data, building the trust on the data. So I'm almost there. Now I'm going to go request access for this, right? Now let's look at another demo. This is where we're going to look at the access path. So as I was mentioning before, access is not just about getting access, but being able to deliver it to the AWS service of your choice. So I'm going to log in as Anna. So Anna is the consumer. She's going to go and ask permission for, hey, I want to run this glucose analysis. Can you please provide me access? So before that, let me look at this Athena table, right? In this, as you see here, this table has no data. So she does not have access to any of these data sets. She does not have permission to look at the glucose data set. There's also a QuickSight report, which is also saying that you don't have sufficient permission to view this. Maybe there was a pre-can report that was presented to her, and she's able to see that there is no. So now let's look at the workflow. This is an Amazon shopping checkout-like experience workflow where Anna is going to come in, right? And this is the data set that she wants, right, of blood glucose. And then she's going to go in and check out this data set. Right? And then she's going to use all the last use details, and then she's going to hit next. Anna is presented with the screen that, hey, here are the terms and conditions that you have to use in order to access this data set, right? And she agrees to all of them. So with this, the data owner had made sure that Anna is going to consume the data in the way that he expects to be consumed. Then she submits the order, and now the order has been sent. Now Connie, I'm going to log in as Connie, who owns the data. Is now going to get a notification that, hey, there is an order for you to approve. So once you will see here that once the order is approved by or is approved by Connie, that the permissions are automatically percolated. So look, there is an access request from Anna here. Here is the order for it. She approves it. She says, approved. Okay, it's approved now. Oh, maybe I'm going to hit approve. She says approved. And now this order is going to get approved. So as part of this approval, right, this order means that she's approved access, but there is the underlying automation that kicks in. This is, again, Informatica's integration with AWS Lake Formation Service, whereby we modify the permission depending on the needs. Maybe it could be, hey, I want to just describe the data, or I want to just do select queries. Depending on the permission you need, we are able to now fulfill that data. So if I refresh here, this data would have been fulfilled by an automation process. I think it's the network that's working up. Okay. So let's come back here and see if Anna has got access to the tables. As you can see here, in Athena, Anna has got access to the tables now. And she also has access to the pre-canned glucose monitoring dataset reports. If I go back to Connie's dashboard here, you can see that there is a full timeline of who asked for permission, when was the permission given by Connie, who was the data owner, and also when was it fulfilled. So this is useful in case of compliance and auditory requirements where you have to present these kind of reports. So let's go back to the quick site. As you can see here, Anna has now access to the lake formation through which now she also has access to the data, and which is now showing up in her pre-canned reports. So with that, let's move on to consumers. So hopefully I'm going to change the HDMI input. Yep. So we saw consumer needs now. We saw through the demo. Now let's look at the owner needs. So these are data stewards or data custodians, right? And their responsibility to ensure that the quality and the fitness of the data fits the purpose of the organization, right? And as data custodians, the goal is to have a good change process in place in order to ensure that they are able to quickly react to regulatory requirements, do protection, protection of the data, making sure that the data is used in the right way. One thing we strongly believe is that if data governance is well defined, and if the right guardrails are put in place, you can set free your consumers to innovate. Because you know for sure, one, the data is protected. Two, the consumers will use the data in the way you expect it. So that's very, very critical. The one other key thing that data owners always look for is data quality. How can I constantly monitor the data quality, right? You may be, like, if a quality on something suffers, maybe there is an important marketing campaign that you are running, right? Maybe the emails won't go out. Maybe the marketing campaign would suffer. Or there may be an important report, right, whereby if the quality suffers, you know that the top management cannot make good decisions based on the report. Maybe those reports are tier 1 reports or tier 0 reports, which your marketing team or your top management uses. So how can you ensure and at least get alerted and be able to quickly remediate those data quality changes? And finally, how can we do analysis on high fidelity data? What we mean by that is now every company has hundreds, if not more, different fragmented applications. Even defining a customer who may be using multiple of your products as a single entity becomes harder. Even answering simple questions like what is the lifetime value of a customer who are using multiple products of yours becomes harder. What is my channel readiness for a product? This is the holiday season, right? As a product owner, you want to understand what is my channel readiness across my different channels. You may have an omni-channel presence, maybe via mobile, via e-commerce, or even your product may be listed on Amazon.com. What are your channel readiness? How can you do analysis on that high fidelity data? That is where you're pulling data from various different sources, bringing it in, and building that reference. So with that, let's again move into another demo for data owners. Okay, came up. So Robin, the data owner, is going to log in here. right? And first we're going to focus on this one is around data quality. So he logs, and this is Informatica's data governance dashboard. As you can see here, there's a number of information that is there. And Robin is now going to look at the data quality issue that is currently going on, right? So he wants to go back in there, and here is a report, and this is a report he constantly monitors, or he may get even alerted via email or other notification. And here he looks at the different data quality issues across all the data that he owns currently. And one thing he looks at is that the data quality of this particular email validity is suffering, right? And what he wants to do is he wants to understand what is the impact because of this quality suffering so that he can notify the impacted stakeholder and then move on to understanding where the root cause is coming from, and finally inform the stakeholder whose ETL pipeline or whatever that might be is actually causing the issue. And then finally, being able to reconcile the whole thing. So Rob goes in here, he looks at the data quality. The first thing he notices is this particular chart, right? Where he sees that initially the data quality was good, it dropped over time, okay? Something happened, somebody fixed it, but the fix did not last for longer, it again fell, right? So that means that there is some issue with the data quality here. So what's next? So let's look at the exact field or the column that is actually suffering in the data quality. So he comes in here, he looks at the data quality, and then he looks at, okay, what kind of data quality is failing. He looks at the details. Okay, the completeness of the data is good, whereas the validity is bad, right? So now he is going back to the overview. He wants to understand a little more about the data patterns. So one thing is, again, this is something if you have permission to is when you'll be able to look at those patterns. Otherwise, you may not. But in this case, he being the data owner, he has permissions to see this. And then he looks at, okay, let me look at, okay, what are the different values in here? What's the pattern? And then one thing he notices, maybe right off the bat, maybe not, he may not be always that lucky, but he just notices right here that all the .coms, the emails are improperly formed, right? Maybe he just got lucky here. But again, it doesn't say anything. There could be multiple issues that may be happening. But then let's look at what is causing. Where is this problem arising from? What's causing this? Right? Probably some kind of transformation, right? Because the data went through this transformation is causing this. So he notices that this particular field is what is being affected. Look, there is a cloud data integration transformation that's going on, and it's actually bringing data from this particular table that's right here, right? So he's going to go expand the hop, okay? So now he looks at that, okay, this table, from this warehouse, I'm bringing data into this other Oracle table, and this is what is causing the issue. So it's probably in this transformation. But before that, he also wants to understand what's the impact, right? Because of this data quality going down. So now he can also look at what's the downstream impact of it, right? There is an ENSO Tableau report, there's a Tableau report on products and points. So he knows that there is an important marketing campaign that may be running at this point, and it's affecting my products and points, and this is the holiday season. So he has to go in and alert his stakeholder. So he comes in here, and then he alerts, it's Scott Hayes. He alerts Scott Hayes that, look, here is a problem, right? You are having an impact. Are you aware of this, right? So he's able to kind of guide Scott based on what the impact is, and let's see that if he can take some remediation on his side to mitigate the issue and nullify the impact. And then he goes and looks into this further. I'm going to quickly overlay quality here. And validity, we saw that validity was the only one that is getting affected, right? Okay, so he looks at this. He looks at this and the validity, and this, he sees that this is the exact one that he was looking at. It was at 24.7, and then he sees that, okay, here is the transformation that's affecting it. So now let me look at more. Where is this particular transformation coming from? Look, he has a link to the exact place that the transformation is happening, the exact mapping and ETL job that's actually transforming the data. Maybe as data governance, they may want to dive deep if they have to, but if they don't want to, they can at least go in here and be able to understand who the stakeholder is and work with the stakeholder to say, hey, Rajiv, you need to fix this. So even before that, let me make one more thing clear. Is that the root cause? Is that where it is originating from? Maybe I go back further, and I want to see how the quality is coming all the way from source. And look here, look, the data is good here. It's good, it's 99. But then when I scroll down, I see that this is 29. So the quality started suffering not here. It was not local to this, but somewhere even upstream, further upstream. That's where this problem was. So now he's able to look at this and able to say that this is the exact place or the exact stakeholder who needs to fix his ETL pipeline. Right? Quality is important. It's very important to understand what is being affected and what has changed that is causing this to happen. Now, I'm going to go and show how easy is it to create a data quality rule. Right? So we have something called a data quality template. And so where you can go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to create a data quality on rewards point. We saw the rewards point example. So I'm going to go create a rewards point validity rule here. I'm going to say, hey, this is a rewards point validity. And then I am going to give it a unique reference ID. We're going to call this DQ rewards, right? I'm going to call this a business abstract. Look, these are all the business glossaries. So anytime any column or a field gets associated with a business glossary, automatically this template, this data quality rule will start applying to it. So it's not that you have to go through every table. Right? This is the scaling and the automation behind it is we are able to associate a data column with a business glossary, and based on that, we are able to run some data quality rules. Right? So I'm going to search for rewards. So here's the rewards business term. I'm going to associate with that. I'm going to say, so this is another place where I'm going to define what the rule is. This is where we support natural language processing. I'm going to say a rewards point should be between, rewards point value should be between 0 and, I'm going to say just 500, view recommendation. It automatically created the rule for me, right? It's not like it's meant for anybody who is coming with a business context where they don't have to know SQL, they don't have to know the programming language or anything behind it. They just write it in natural language, and we convert that into the appropriate data quality rule. And not only that, we do have multiple based on the data, we also recommend data quality rules based on the underlying technical data and the business glossary that's associated with. So now the next question may come is, how do you associate business glossary with the underlying data. We use, again, AI for that. Based on the pattern of the data, once we understand that, okay, this belongs to a rewards point, we do that on your behalf with the automation, being able to associate that column or that field with the business glossary. And that's also done by our AI-powered data management engine. Click OK. And then I'm going to click on automation. This is going to say, hey, whenever I find something, I'm going to quickly go and kick off that. And then I'm going to say what the target value is, and then what's my threshold for acceptance is, and how often I want to run this, right? And then I'm going to assign a stakeholder for this. I'm going to add Scott for this one. So I'm going to choose a governance administrator as Scott. And that's it. And then I'm going to create. And that's the creation of a data quality role. And now the platform automatically takes to ensure that based on the association with the business glossary, it'll automatically kick off the data quality across all the columns that you have. Now I'm going to log into our MDM. This is our product 360. We have Finance 360, we have Customer 360, we have a slew of 360 products. Again, this is about bringing data for high fidelity analysis from multiple sources and then being able to answer simple yet critical business questions. So here's an MDM dashboard, and as you can see here, right, this catalog gives me the completeness and readiness across all my products across all the channels that I have. I come to the screen and I am able to see that. This is the holiday season, right? I want to know what's my product readiness right off the bat. Of course, I'm able to get other details on what are the items that are sold I purchased by origin, what are the items that I sold across those different countries, and more. So I'm interested in, I know that the hoodie today is kind of the highest selling or highest selling this season. So I want to make sure that how is my hoodie doing? I'm just going to type HUDI, that's fine. And not to confuse with Apache hoodie. So as you can see here, it brings me a single page with all the full description across multiple applications that I have, multiple platforms that I have into a single page view, right? It contains all the descriptions with regards to the different languages, how is the details page for this product coming up, right? What are the different properties of these products, right? What are the countries that I'm selling at? What are, is it machine washable, right? All that detailed extended product information that I want, sizes. It even brings the images, because today, a lot of shopping happening, online shopping or e-commerce shopping happens where images and details are very, very important, right, on that page, in order for customers to be able to make an educated buying decision. And once you have all of that, right, and again, the other thing is, some question may come as, hey, how does one populate all of this, right? Two ways. One is, of course, you may be having domain experts who may be advising you on, hey, how this page should look like. It's completely customizable based on your domain needs. And also, we have industry accelerators. For different industries, we have those templates whereby we will enable you jumpstart some of these categories and products. And of course, I can look at the channel readiness for this particular product. What's the readiness of this product across these different channels, right? It's probably not doing so great on data in my data warehouse, but it's across e-commerce, mobile, and CSM. The readiness is great. Now I'm going to look at the related the product sources where I am bringing in, right? And as you can see here on the left is my reference data. This is my reference data. Right? It's bringing data from multiple sources, like it's bringing data from my data warehouse running on Amazon Redshift. It's also bringing data from my widget now. It's bringing data from all the different systems that I have and basically creating this golden or high fidelity data, right? And now if I look here, right, it gives me all that information, and even I can actually go ahead and drill down as to which exact location or which exact source is this product coming from, or is this information coming from. And then I can take and proliferate all of this back to the different sources as well from here, so that I ensure that there is a uniformity in the information across the different sources. So that's our product 360. I'm going to quickly jump in on, I'm looking here, I have 9 minutes, and I'm going to look at the next one, which is our data producer needs, right? Important, connectivity is very important. You need to bring data at scale and speed without having to worry about the infrastructure, right? Those are the two key things. And then finally, being able to do the transform that is needed. And we see customers loving pre-built transforms. And finally, ability to validate data before and after the data has been moved. So let me quickly move to the demo. So today, as Jan announced, the data loader, I'm going to give you a quick glimpse of how it looks. So this is my data in Salesforce, and I'm going to race with this, right? Because this is all about that quick loading. So let's see how fast we can do it, right? So this is the data that is there in Salesforce. And it's the accounts data, and I want to bring this data into Redshift. Now, you can actually go ahead and click on Informatica Data Loader right directly from the Redshift console. Click on this, and this will lead you to a registration page. And all you need is your email. As Rick was mentioning, it's a no-cost service. You can click on your email, complete the registration. I've already done the registration, so I'm going to quickly move into here. Okay, so I'm going to go create a new job. Select my source, which is Salesforce. If I want to edit any of the parameters, I can go ahead and edit it. There's also an inbuilt video showing you the instructions. We want to, as we said, we want to make it as frictionless as possible. I'm going to just select just the accounts information, nothing more, nothing less. That's what I want to move. So now it's exactly going in and looking at all the tables in Salesforce. I click on the account data. That's what I want to move. And then I click Next. I'm going to select Redshift as my target, right? And if I want to edit any of the connections, I can go ahead and edit it. And then I'm going to just include the staging bucket, right? This is as per the best practices of Redshift, where you provide the staging bucket. Again, you don't have to provide it every time. And then I'm going to just give it a prefix, going to say reinvent stage, right? And then I'm going to say what is the schema location where I want to do this, and I'm going to say create a new table. And then I'm going to say click Next. Just created it. That's the name of it, and I'm going to hit save. It's all saved, and now I'm going to hit run, and that's it. I created a connectivity, connected to my source, I connected to my target, I hit run, and now if I look at my job is running, right? Now let me quickly go into the Redshift query editor. Again, this is a pre-populated thing that I've done. I go in, select the table, right? Or I can go ahead and run any kind of query, and I see all the data that came up from the table here, right? So in 3 easy steps: connected to the source, connected to the target, move the data, queried in Redshift, all from the Redshift console. Cool. So that was our demo. And all the things that you saw today were actually all the different services in our intelligent data management cloud platform, which we call it as IDMC. As Rick was mentioning before, it's a completely SaaS-based platform built for our built on AWS for our AWS customers ground up. And in terms of, either you're all in on AWS or you're using a hybrid between AWS and on-premise, we support customers who are having that kind of a posture today. And based on data processing needs that you might have, we have multiple options for you, where the data processing or the runtime, the SaaS part is the control plane, but the runtime which runs in your AWS account or within and none of the data leaves your network perimeter. It's all within the network perimeter. That's how we have defined our architecture, and that's a deliberate design. Again, you can manage it on your own. We have a self-managed option where you manage it on your own. We have a serverless option as well. And then finally, we also have an elastic option where you have tons and tons of data that you want to process in a distributed fashion. We allow that data processing capability too. And we've also built a number of optimizations on top of that in order to save cost for our customers. And finally, as I was mentioning, we have an AI-powered automation in there in order to automate some of those data management tasks on your behalf, either associating business glossary with the underlying technical data or recommending data quality rules or data cleansing rules for you. Let's quickly look at how a modern data architecture. So this is kind of the end state, right? It's like we painted all of this. How does the end state look like for something like a data lake? On the left-hand side is your data source. We have mass ingestion capabilities whereby you can bring in data into your data lake, into your raw zone. And then you can run different data quality and data integration as well as data cleansing to move the data from raw zone into staging, which is where you have pre-processed the data. And now your consumers can do then targeted quality rules and things in order to make it ready for consumption. And then you can even orchestrate query using our secure runtime agent, whereby we have built a number of optimizations for, as I was mentioning, to be source aware and target aware in order to ensure that the performance, one, to benefit customers with performance, second is with cost, especially any kind of egress or ingress cost, or egress cost. There's no ingress cost, egress cost. And then you can go ahead and use any of the analytic services to be able to read the data from the consumption zone. And then we use, as I was mentioning, with our MDM solutions, where you can bring in data from various different sources, ERP systems, and run data quality and build a 360-degree view, and then proliferate the entire thing back to those sources. And when you're going through all of this life cycle, you have a detailed lineage and metadata that is being persisted. And also, there is governance that you can run on that. And then with our marketplace, you can share it with our consumers. The next one that I'm going to show here is our data mesh architecture, which is the shared enterprise layer. At the bottom that you see here are the different data producers who are producing domain. We have a federated data access posture that we can also leverage, whereby individual domain owners can enforce their rules and their requirements and policies in their domain. But at the same time, there is always an enterprise-wide posture just for consistency across those different domains. That's where this federated data governance posture comes in, and now they're able to publish all of their data in their marketplace. And with lake formation, they're able to provide also access. Using lake formation, they're able to provide access to the underlying data as well. Finally, this is my last slide. I have one other slide, but the thing here is, when we listen to customers, we always see two types of problems. One, customers who have started quickly moving to the cloud, but figured out that they don't have a comprehensive data management posture, and so they have the data swamp effect. Or the others who have not started migration because they don't have a comprehensive data management in there. With Informatica, because of the horizontal nature of our platform, all the way from data discovery to governance, and also from MDM and marketplace and data sharing and all of that, we are able to provide that connected experience from data producers to data owners to data consumers. So we are providing that connected. That's how we differentiate. And that's why customers on our platform can leverage an incremental and cohesive data management approach rather than having to do the heavy lifting of stitching between one phase to the other. Again, if you want to learn more, what I covered was just some of the things. We have a much more robust capabilities and a lot more functionalities. We have a booth. We have a big presence here. A lot of us. There are a lot of experts here from our team who are here. And feel free to engage them and ask questions, understand from them what other capabilities we have. There are a number of theater sessions that we have, a number of demos that are constantly going on. We also have a breakout session on Wednesday focusing just on data governance. And with that, thank you.